kind of predicted his own death in his last composition. Well, today I want to tell you about a Canadian composer by the name of Claude Vivier. Claude was born in Montreal in 1948, and he was abandoned by his parents and put in a Catholic orphanage. And eventually he was adopted by a middle-class Canadian family. But this idea of being forgotten, being given up, not knowing who his family is, where he comes from, what he belongs to, that was so deep and it never left him. And that is a central part of all of his music. Many of his works explore themes of loneliness, of searching, of not belonging, of childhood innocence, and also spiritual longing, trying to find, where do I fit in? One of his most famous pieces really reflects this deeply personal theme. It's called The Lonely Child, and in it there's French words and then also some made-up words, and it sounds so haunting, and it's like a child's voice calling into the vast universe. Like, hello, it is beautiful. As a young man, he was raised Roman Catholic, and when he was 18, he entered the Catholic novitiate, and he was wanting to become a priest. But this erupted suddenly because he was expelled for inappropriate behavior. And this probably stemmed to him being a homosexual. And definitely in the 1960s, there's no way that was acceptable in a very strict Catholic church. And he once again felt rejected and like he wasn't enough. And this just impacted this feeling he already had. This feeling of being cast out, of not belonging, that echoes throughout his music. He does not abandon spirituality, though. He transforms this into this mystical artistic vision. And through his music, he explores the soul, he explores death, he explores transcendence, and he also explores eternity. So he entered the Conservatory of Quebec, and there he was learning modern composition and orchestration, music theory, and all that. And when he left, he had a really good foundation, but it wasn't enough for him. He was curious, and he really wanted to understand more of and explore this idea of how am I going to put these feelings and this spiritual ideas into my music. And so he traveled to Germany, and he started studying under Karl-Heinz Stockhausen. We talked about him a few weeks ago, who was also really into the same ideas. And so he's combining this very solid Western musical, classical foundation with these really ethereal ideas. Somewhere in the 1970s, he goes and travels all across Asia, and he is in Bali at some point in his travels, and the music there moves him. The gamelan music, it moves him so much. The shimmering of it, the layered percussion, the ethereal part of it, and he said that stuck with him, and it influenced all of his music after he heard that. Claude Vivier developed a sound world unlike almost any other composer before and after him. His music often includes things like bell-like sounds, invented languages, slow, ritualistic melodies, and definitely themes of childhood, of existence, and of death. And the reason he put words in for singers that were actually not any language is that he believed that the language of music would supersede the need for a spoken word, because the music language would have come from a deeper emotional part. I mean, since then we've seen that with some other people, like Carl Jenkins does this as well. He himself described his music as this cosmic journey that he's trying to take you on. And people that listen to it often say his music sounds less like listening to traditional music, and it's more like a mystical experience. Now, despite the beautiful spirituality of his music, he himself was a troubled and complex person. He was known for having this boisterous personality, and this laugh is definitely something that people recognize at once. He was he always wore a sheepskin jacket that people recognized him with immediately. He also dealt with deep anxiety attacks. He was deathly afraid of the dark and would sleep with all of his lights on. And we're hearing that there's this trauma that is never resolved, this childlike something in him, and then this deep curiosity, this high intellect And we're going to hear all that in his music. But it was just, I think, a difficult existence internally for him. In 1983, he was working on a piece called Glaubst du an die Unsterblichkeit der Seele, which means, do you believe in the immortality of the soul? He had not completed this piece. He was found murdered in his apartment. Later, they found that he'd met a young man the day before, and this guy, I don't know, something happened. They had a beef or something. The guy came in and ended his life. Claude was only 34 years old at this time, so young, and the things he did with sound is just amazing. Now, that last piece he wrote, the title is in German, but what is interesting is that the words in it, some are German, and yet some are French, and then some of them are in this phonetic, non-linguistic language. So even the voices speaking within the song itself can't really understand each other. They're still lonely together. It is a very mesmerizing piece. His music is definitely not for everyone, and I do appreciate it, but not always. But there are times that it just really gets to me. The hardships he faced, the abandonment, the rejection, the isolation, the not understanding, he did not allow any of that to silence him. In fact, he took that exact part of him that hurts so much and he put it out and shared it with the world in this mesmerizing, very interesting way of hearing music. A lot of people now listen to his music and believe that it was absolutely timeless, like a message sent into space from a solitary voice searching for connection, and perhaps that is exactly what he was. A composer, a man asking the universal question, do you believe in the immortality of the soul? Go and listen to something by Claude Vivier.